Welcome to The Perfect Exposure, where every episode we bring to you home industry experts where we discuss related topics. I'm your host, Mary Coons of Mary Light Photography, and I'm here today with
David Ioele, better known as DJ. I'm broker owner of Gateway Realty Solutions and Gateway Property Solutions. We kind of fall under the Gateway Solutions Corp umbrella. So there's 3 companies, but I'm directly involved in those 2.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on our episode 5 of The Perfect Exposure.
I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
My podcast debut. So
yeah,
I'm
that's
ready.
cool.
Yeah.
It was probably my podcast debut like 5 episodes ago.
So you're a pro now.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but I'm having fun with it. So that's the goal. So I guess we could go back. Like you and I met when you were an agent at Oxford,
Yep.
right?
Oxford.
And I think I met your mom before that.
You might have.
Yeah.
Tim Tyler introduced you to me.
Yes.
Tim. Yeah. Timmy from
Yeah.
Price.
Yeah. He actually got me. He got me my admin too. He was like, "You should meet this."
I was just with him at a conference.
Yeah.
We go back. So,
solid guy.
Yeah, I was with Howard Hanna, and I switched over to Oxford Property Group to follow Tim and Jamie. Howard Hanna provided photography for us, so
Yeah.
I was in the hunt, and Tim said, "Why don't you try Mary?" And
Yeah.
and I don't think I've used another photographer since.
Nice.
So,
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I'll take that as a win. Yeah, no, we love working. We love working with you when you're primarily an agent, but then you got some really fun projects going on now, and you've introduced us to quite a few people.
Yeah.
And so like,
been a wild ride.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it suits you.
Yeah. I don't think so. I guess to explain, when I was working at Oxford and was coming up as an agent and trying to build my client base, I got to give another shout out to Jamie. She introduced me to 2 gentlemen who she was working with as investors. That she was trying to grow her team and she didn't have time to cater to their needs, so she passed them off to me as a referral, and I cultivated a really good relationship with them. And they needed a property manager, and I was like, this could be a good way to make some more money and get some experience in the investment side where I wanted to be. And here we are. We're going on year 4, I think. Yeah, year 4 or 5 of me as in the property management space. And we opened a real estate brokerage because you need a broker's license to manage other people's properties.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it went from a Zillow lead to her to me being a partner in 2 companies.
Yeah, that's a lot, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
And you really knew the area, and
yeah, that was kind of why it worked out so well. They're investing mainly in Fulton and Montgomery County, and I grew up in Johnstown, and I know the area very well, so that was a bonus for them as we learned the property management field together. So
yeah. So what's your favorite part of, I guess, all aspects of what you're doing?
Yeah, so I will say, it's when people think about property management. When I was an agent, I was like, "Ooh, property management seems like an easy way to, supplement my income. I just collect some rents from people."
Right.
Well, I learned very quickly, and my mental health learned very quickly.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Right.
There is a lot to it. There's some rewarding aspects and there's some frustrating aspects, but I guess my favorite part, that's a really good question. Hard hitting right off the bat.
Yeah.
My favorite part about property management, you get to see the owners you work with and your clients, especially my partners. We grew it I came on board with them when they had like 30 properties and 45 to maybe like somewhere around 80 doors. And last Thursday we added our 225th door.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
wow, that's exponential.
yeah,
Oh my
so
gosh.
we grew rather quickly. Now I'm not managing the properties directly. We have a full-time property manager, maintenance staff, and a virtual assistant.
You have some construction crew.
Yeah, so
too?
I'm not directly involved. So there's a third
Yeah.
company, Gateway Construction.
Yeah.
And also my partners run that with 2 other people in my position for for construction. And what's nice about it is, we have that right there. So if an apartment needs a turnover or we need maintenance done, I myself or the property manager doesn't have to call a subcontractor. We can text our guy over at Gateway Construction, who's probably sitting in the desk behind us, and
That's great.
Yeah, they go out and hopefully get the job done.
Yeah.
No, the construction aspect's good. They've been growing big too. They acquired another company. They acquired a local exterior roofing company.
Okay.
He approached us. He was a big subcontractor for us. He approached us and was like, I want to join forces. You guys got something going. You have the infrastructure. And so that was huge for us this year. This was his first full year on board. That was big for the construction side. And it helps with outside clients for property management and real estate too. Like as a real estate agent, I have that service right there. Like, we had a final walkthrough the other day where something wasn't working at the final walkthrough. I called my project manager and I'm like, we got to get someone out here to fix this today in an hour before the closing. We got it there and fixed and we closed on time.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you definitely having like all these facets that are adjacent to your goals and like not even just one specific area, but all of the areas. Yeah. You're like, oh, I got somebody for that. Yeah, and here they are.
Yeah, and I think your role in real estate as like a realtor or an agent is, you're obviously there to provide a service of selling the house, but it's a lot about who you know too. Like you like I got a guy for that.
Yeah.
Like that's a big part of our business, and having literally a company that you're involved in that you can provide those services outside of just normal real estate. Is I think a huge added bonus, and all the companies work together, so it's not like we're doing 3 different things in 3 separate lanes. They all kind of help each other. You actually took pictures for one of the houses.
Was that the
Glens
before
Falls.
And after
well
one,
the Glens Falls. You took pictures of a house for me in Glens Falls. That was a guy looking to sell.
Okay.
He moved into one of our apartments as a client.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we're going to go and he's going to go and buy a house with us after.
Oh, I think I remember now. Yeah. Yep, I remember that. Was it wintertime?
It was wintertime.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was my first sale as a broker owned.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was
super
a cool
cool
one.
I love that. I love seeing everybody get into their own niche and then really just skyrocket and utilizing the network that they built. And like I hate the word networking, like I think, you can belong to groups or whatever, but really networking is just making friends.
Building relationships. Yeah, like for sure. And we were just talking about it before we started it. I'm in a BNI group, and I met. If I didn't come to your grand opening here, that would have never happened for me. And
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it created some awesome, relationships, and there was a big sale that came out of it through a referral I got through that group. So
that's so awesome.
You took pictures for that too. So, like I said, you've done most. I would say you've probably done 99% of my photos. Yeah. We had an agent who did some photos, so I let her take a couple. But we've mainly stuck with Mary Light.
I love that. Yeah, we're growing too, so we have to keep up with everybody else.
Sure.
It's not just real estate. A lot of the times that we're putting on like full productions for things that are taking off for companies like you guys. Yeah. And that makes us have to level up and keep up with the marketing trends and things like that. So we're appreciative of people really kind of going outside their normal.
Yeah, and I think the goal is here in 2025. We just got a new property manager, so that was been some turnover. Small step back. Yeah, just getting her comfortable, but she's really good with marketing. I feel like she'd be comfortable in front of a camera. We want to start. We did that video a few months ago, about a year ago, of like a turn of a property. We want to really start doing those. Yeah, we just bought a 14 or 12 unit building in Gloversville that we're gonna do a pretty extensive renovation on, and I think it'd be smart to probably do a before and after that.
And you say a year ago, and since then we've added Connor, and our video has really improved.
I'm excited. So I'm glad I came here because now I can remember that, and we can
talk about networking.
Yeah, right. This is good. We'll book something too.
Yeah, no, that sounds like we like those types of projects because and companies like Gateway because We love our realtors, and we love, that is our bread and butter. We love doing get the pictures done, deliver them, good transaction. But every once in a while, something a little more creative, a little more different, more commercial based work it's a lot of fun, especially when you already have a rapport with the people.
Sure. And I love giving the business, and it's hard because I'm not in the traditional sense. Like, I'm not listing these fancy houses that require professional photography.
Yeah.
So any chance I get, I'm excited.
Yeah.
But there's got to
be a good one.
Find other ways.
Yeah.
Find other ways to utilize it, and these projects and videos are a good way to go. And it
for sure
shows what we do and what we provide. There's not really anyone like us in the Fulton Montgomery area.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, so what are you looking for right now? Like when you're as you're growing, what are you looking for?
Two main things, and these are kind of separate, but we're growing a real estate brokerage. So I am looking to get residential agents who want to be part of a growing brand, and we do a lot behind the scenes for them. I was at two really different brokerages. I was at Howard Hanna and Oxford. I'd like to take the best things from both of those companies, and we're 2 years in now, and I'm trying to take what I liked about each and try to make a path for like a brokerage in between. And maybe there's a reason that there aren't brokerages like that, because it's hard to do both.
So hard,
but I'm gonna try my best, and I've got some people behind the scenes there helping me. I have an agent who's getting her broker's license and stepping up and helping me with some stuff there. But so that's that goal. Is I'm trying to grow the brokerage, and there's a lot of real estate brokers and brokerages all throughout the Capital District. Fulton, Montgomery County, you've got your big brands, and then you've got, there's a couple small boutique brokerages that do well. We're trying to find our space in that market. I mean, I live in Saratoga, but I still am Fulton County born and bred.
You're halfway there. Yeah.
So, that's where we are for now. But so that's that. So we're trying to grow the brokerage as any normal broker would.
So, and you're looking for agents too?
Yeah, I'm looking for agents. I've got a few that I'm recruiting that I think are going to make the jump here early next year.
Nice.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I can't say that. I can't say who or talk about that. But I had a good experience. I just went to a conference in Atlantic City, and that was great networking. And there were a ton of local agents there that I got to have good conversations with. But then, so besides growing the brokerage, we have the property management company, and that's a well-oiled machine right now. Like we're a professional property management company. We've seen it all to this point. We D and C class properties. We've stabilized some really tough buildings.
And by stabilize, what does that mean?
So we go in and we take a building where there's bad tenants, a lot of maintenance, a lot of things wrong, and we go in and we eradicate the problem, really. So if there needs to be evictions, we can handle a full eviction process. We're a full service property management company.
Okay.
So we will do from leasing to evictions and anything in between.
Wow.
So, you go in and you fix those maintenance issues, see if you can get those tenants that are problem tenants to get back on track. If not, unfortunately, you got to go through an eviction process. New York's not the easiest state to do that. And we've done a lot of them.
And the rules were for
the
a
rules
while.
are tough.
Yeah.
And it's really municipality based. Like Amsterdam, for example, like the building I'm thinking of when I'm talking about this is in Amsterdam. They're very landlord friendly, believe it or not. Well, depending on the judge. There's a couple judges there.
Yeah.
They're both leaning towards landlord friendly, but you still have to follow all the state rules.
Right.
So yeah, we go in and we get the bad tenants out. We fix up the property, cost effectively for the owner. So
I'm going to guess that's not your favorite part.
No, definitely not. The tenants, I'll be honest with you, I think the biggest turnover in property management is the dealing with people, because I say this all the time. I had a property manager who left, and we loved her. She was great. And exit interview basically was, what could we have done different? She's like, it's just the tenants. Like, you're dealing with, and I dealt with this personally, so I'm not putting this just on her. I was so happy when we hired help, because I did this by myself for 2 years. 90% of your phone calls all day are people that are angry with you or want an apartment and you can't deliver because they don't qualify. And so you have to either deal with someone who's mad about something that's wrong with their apartment, or you have to tell someone that they don't financially qualify for whatever reason for your apartment, and then they get mad at you and call you a lie. Like, it's just
That's hard.
It's not a lot of happy people, and I say this all the time. You don't realize, you got to take a step back and realize the good you're doing in property management. When people are happy, you don't hear from them. So you have to say, like, when I see a tenant on our rent roll and it's like, oh, I forgot they even lived there. That's because we're doing our job and they're happy and they're being a good tenant.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough space, and I think where we provide value is the market was really hot a couple of years ago, and a lot of people got into real estate investing.
Yeah,
and I think they get in over their head, right? And they don't hire a property manager. They're like, oh, I can do this myself.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff they don't account for, and there's a lot of rules and regulations, and then they made a bad deal, right? So like, they don't have in their budget to hire a property manager when they get in over their head.
Right.
So I think that's where we provide value is we self-manage a lot of our units are owned by us.
Yeah.
Or by us, I say my partners. And we know how to analyze a deal and make sure that there's enough room for it to have property management and maintenance all accounted for, so you're not upside down when one little thing goes wrong.
Yeah.
So
that's really good.
That's where we, I think, provide the most value, and myself as an agent broker is, I can go into a property with you, and I'm actually looking for myself and a buddy right now. We're in the market looking to spend some money. But we can analyze a deal and make sure that it will make sense and barring some crazy unforeseen circumstance, it'll make money.
Right.
So yeah, it's property management is a beast. And I'm happy to say, and I'm proud to say, I have enough experience in it now where I'm not going to call myself an expert. There's a lot of people I can still learn from, but I have a pretty solid grasp on the day-to-day activities.
Yeah.
And I've seen almost everything.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a tenant arrest another tenant. I have a tenant who's a police officer, and they arrested another tenant.
Oh my gosh.
I would go, that's Twilight Zone for you. So,
yeah. I imagine you have some pretty funky stories.
There's some crazy stories. I'm trying to think of some that are podcast camera appropriate. But
well, it's just Spotify.
I've seen it all. I've seen it all.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I've seen some of the properties before they're renovated.
Yeah.
During renovation, that's a different story. That's like kind of stripping it down. Yeah. And so it doesn't really tell a story, but the before definitely tells a story.
I'll show you a photo after. The place we just bought, if you Google Street View it, all the tenants are in lawn chairs on the front. And it's in an urban area, and all the tenants are sitting in lawn chairs, hanging out.
Google drove by and
Google drove by, and they're all staring at the camera. It's great. It's awesome.
That is great.
It's awesome.
You should definitely screenshot that and make it a print.
I will.
That's pretty funny.
So we'll joke. I have a meeting at 4:00 today, to do some property management stuff. And when we're getting frustrated about this property, I'm just going to remind everyone, hey, this is where we started. The end goal is going to be there, but this is where we started.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's just crazy.
It's funny stuff. We've seen we've seen it all, really.
Is it mostly awkward and negative? I feel like
No.
it must be at least dealing with tenants, or because if you take over a building and there's people living there.
I have a real positive story about that.
Okay.
Actually, this is a good one. Let's go positive.
Yeah, let's do positive.
We took over a building in Fonda, New York, and this was it was dilapidated. There shouldn't even have been people living in it. One of the tenants was an older gentleman, and he had nowhere to go, and but we had to get him out. It was uninhabitable. So normally in that case, we give them the 90-day notice, and we just kind of wish them well. We'll help them where we can, but there's not much we can do. This gentleman, I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm too sensitive for this field.
Yeah, I'm already I'm sorry. I could never work for you. Good luck, DJ.
So I have a very good relationship with Amsterdam Housing Authority, and I think that's a real bonus if you're looking to invest in Amsterdam. We are I think we're 48% of their rent roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're we have the money Amsterdam Section 8 pays out each month. We get 48% of it.
Wow.
So,
wow.
it's some crazy number like that.
Yeah.
So this gentleman, I have a really good relationship with Amsterdam Section 8, and there's a really long wait list. I got him to the top of the wait list. We got him approved for a voucher because he was in an emergency situation because he was going to be homeless. And then it just so happened by the grace of God that we had an apartment in a neighborhood open up that was perfect for him, first floor. And he moved in, and he has been a great tenant, and we never hear from him. And when I do hear from him, it's like him thanking me for like saving his life, basically.
Yeah, I would just be holding on to that, like riding that out as long, because there's just so many times where I mean,
like I said, you just don't get the gratification because the good people you don't talk to ever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure we can improve that in our business somewhere, like get reviews from them and whatnot. So we just started a new software to do inspections.
Okay.
Doing inspections is overwhelming when you have 224 apartments. So this awesome software called Rent Check. This is not a paid advertisement, but
it's not a sponsorship.
Yeah, this is not a sponsorship. Rent Check integrates with our management software.
Yeah.
Puts the inspection on the tenant. So we send them an email, or Rent Check sends them an email from us. They download an app, and they get a step-by-step, go and take pictures. Takes them 20 minutes. They take pictures of each room. The app guides them how to take the picture, what they're looking for, and then we can go through and inspect via photo. I mean, it's not foolproof, but when you have 220 doors, you can at least get you can get some information, and it helps take the load off of the people who aren't going to do it, and we're going to have to go in. So,
right, and they're also just going to give you a hard time about you getting in their private space.
Right. So where I was going with that was they can rate us, right? So they can rate us as a landlord as the reviews are coming in. They were a lot higher than anticipated. So the people that do these inspections are usually our better tenants because they're proud of their place. So they're like, yeah, I'll do this inspection. I'll take it. I'm a good tenant.
Don't kick me out.
So we're ranging in like the 4.5 star area on that. And we've had like 60 people submit them, and I got to go through them. And I'm like,
are you able to respond to their reviews or?
I still have to go through with our new manager and look at all these inspections, and we're gonna hash out today like whose role and responsibility that'll be. Yeah. Because our maintenance guy probably should be the one looking at these. That way he can flag them for maintenance.
Yeah, like we got to do this.
Yeah, but we can look at the reviews and say, you know, thank you. And you know, Rent Check suggests, you know, when you send out this inspection, incentivize them. They have management companies that probably have a lot more units than us, but they offer money off rent if you do your inspection in the time period that you know we'll give you a discount this month since you did the inspection on time and everything was good.
That's a nice incentive.
So that's, you know, there's ways to play, and and so
that is a positive too to that, I guess, in a way. You know, that's a good workflow too.
We want to give back to them, and we've been, you know, working on growing so much that we need to take a step back and think like, how can we support the good ones, and how can we support the people that have been great tenants for us? Yeah. You know, that's ultimately our goals. They're our customers too. Like the owners are our clients, right? We're looking for outside owners. We're looking for people who want our service to manage their properties. We're at like 5 outside owners right now, and that's okay. And we're working on, you know, really pushing that service because there's a need for it in Fulton and Montgomery County. Yeah. And they're our client, and our goal is to, you know, make their property as profitable as possible for them. But at the same time, the tenants are our customers, and they can't be neglected because a happy tenant is a happy owner. Right. And it's all like, it all works together.
Yep. It's the same thing for us. Like ultimately the real estate agent or brokerage is our client, but if the client is happy, but there's a fine line there, right? Like you're not going to be like, we're just going to rig everything for your benefit, you know, just like I have to make it work for everybody. So I get it. It's a balance.
It's definitely a balance. And we deal with the tenants more than the owners, right? The owners want their money once a month. Yeah. That's about all I talk to them unless there's a maintenance issue. And then the tenants, you know, is a more regular, you know, you deal with them, you deal with their unit, you deal with their apartment. Yeah.
And you're in personal space, really. So that's, you know, you got to kind of take care of that, the notion that this is like someone's private home, even though it's technically also a business.
Right. Exactly.
it's generating money.
And we have in
So-
our leases that we can come in on at any time with 24-hour notice. And we don't usually, but we always usually try to give them the courtesy of like, hey, can we come in? Like,
Yeah.
here, what's your availability? So you're there, so they're comfortable.
Yeah.
So, but then you have the people who don't respond, and we have to use that clause in our lease, and you got to go in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it sounds fair to me, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like, hey, we gave you fair warning.
Sure.
we gotta make sure everybody's safe too.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility. Like,
Absolutely.
It's like being the parent.
Well,
you know, like,
yeah.
I know you don't want me in your space, but I got to make sure you're okay.
And if you let us in this one time, we'll probably have to come back a lot less. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, property management is a interesting field. It can be rewarding and it can be profitable, but the margins are slim, and it's a necessary evil. So,
do you think that's gonna get better? Or is this like,
thinking about it, where the market's going and whatnot, I feel like the market, the way it's trending, is going to be good for investors soon.
yeah,
But again, stressing, you got to make the right deal.
right?
You have to budget. Even if you're going to manage your own property, I would tell someone to budget for property management. Because if you get in over your head,
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
You won't have the resources to go and get a property manager. It's really the last thing you think about. Like, you're like, oh, I can self-manage this place. How hard is it to collect the rents each month? Well, it's
not
a
that
lot
simple.
more than that. Like, how good are you at screening? Like, screening's a big thing for us. Like,
Yeah.
our software does like a thorough check of everybody that applies. And that's our one, like, we'll work with the tenant, but you have to fill out an application and you have to do our background check. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
Even if you're Section 8 and we know your whole rent's guaranteed, you're still going to pay $20 for an application, and we're still going to run your background credit. We want to know about you before you take over, a space that could potentially cost someone tens of thousands of dollars if you destroy it. So.
I think in that sense too, though, that's a good overall care for your client, because if people hear and know, oh, well, they check applications and they check all this and that, more people are going to apply to live there, and then you're going to get the better tenant.
And our software, it's a new feature, and I love it, because we used to have to do this manually. They upload their pay stubs, and our software goes and verifies the pay stubs for us.
Wow.
So it tells us what times, like how many times the rent it is after taxes. There's no math
Can they
involved.
actually afford it?
Yeah, can they afford it?
Yeah.
And I just had one that was crazy. This was one of our higher end units. I had a gentleman apply, and he worked for like a big company, and ADP, which is huge, was their payroll company.
Yeah.
And our software couldn't verify his pay stub. Luckily, my cousin works for ADP, so I gave her a call.
Got him in there.
And it ended up being all good, but I'm like, I got nervous, because I'm like, how does this software we pay all this money for can't recognize an ADP pay stub?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was a copier error, or
Yeah.
if we didn't provide
Who
enough
knows?
stubs.
Yeah.
But it ended up working out. But that was like, I got scared. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, because when there's a flaw in the
Yeah.
system, you have to investigate and,
Well, it's
and
all
make
about
sure. Yeah.
being thorough. And,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like,
And fair.
yeah, fair housing is a big thing.
Yeah.
Even with renting apartments, I mean, as a realtor, you fill out all those forms, and you're like,
Right.
this never really comes into effect. But when you're renting apartments, it really does come into play a lot. And you have people who get denied that accuse you of violating fair housing, and
Yeah.
would never do that. It's just, I'm sorry, your credit's really low. Like,
Yeah.
it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, you called and want $1,000 a month apartment, and your monthly income's $1,000.
Yeah. That's so hard.
And that's the hard part, is like
Yeah.
saying no to some of those people, and
It's also, you're doing them a service if they
Yeah.
really can't afford it.
right.
Then there's just going to be like problems down the road. And
I think we're really good at, and I have to shout out my last property manager for really helping this, is we are really good about, if a tenant falls behind, we help them find help before we just immediately try to evict them. We get on the phone with them, we talk with them and say, what's going on? Why haven't you paid your rent? Be honest with us. Have you tried this program, this program, this program? They'll pay 1 month's rent. If you think it's going to be an ongoing issue, then we'll have to address that. But if you need help for 1 month, there's all these local agencies that you just bring them documentation from us, and it's no questions asked.
Yeah.
Here's a check.
Yeah.
Be good.
There are lots of programs out there for certain circumstances.
Yeah, we try, and we work closely with a lot of local agencies, like the Mental Health Association besides Section 8. We take in
WIC. Is it WIC that does it, or
I'm not familiar with WIC, but I'm been out of the game here for a little bit, so I can't remember all the names.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I think there's different segments. Like there's a few for like single parents, and then even grandparents that are taking care of their kids, and then HEAP, which is more of an energy.
We're familiar with HEAP,
and they've, whenever I'm on like a mom's thread or something, and if there's someone having trouble, a lot of moms will be like, try this and that program. And, it's hard if you're in that situation to kind of make sense of all of what's out there and what you actually qualify for. But it's nice to know that there are property management companies out there that have those like connections where they can help people out.
We realize we operate in an area where, our apartments are not going to be something you're going to rent in Saratoga for $2,500 a month.
Yeah.
Like we realize our clientele, and sometimes we have to work with them a little bit. And I think that helps. Like I said, we have a lot of tenants that like us, and it's because we've helped them through tough times, and that is rewarding, and we want to keep that positive relationship. And then the owners are happy because the tenant's happy and they're getting paid.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's awesome. It is a business, but it's also a lot of humans involved.
And I hope none of my tenants are listening, but we pay the owners between the 10th and the 15th of the month.
Yeah.
So we give them to the 5th to pay, so they already have that grace period.
Yeah.
But really, if they get their payment in before the 10th, like the owner's going to be happy because they got paid that month. So we give them ample time, and we make sure we have our delinquency report up to snuff before we and we operate at pretty good numbers. I know if there's any investors listening, they're like, oh well, he's talking about owed rents a lot. We're at like a 92 to 94% occupancy and delinquency rate at all times.
That's pretty good.
We're never owed that much money, and we had a rough December. We just had a ton of move-outs, but we got about I think we had 17 or 16 vacancies all pop up at once, which is a lot. And I think we've got like 12 of them filled. So
wow. That's great.
We are good at what we do there, and we're not just putting anybody in. But again, I have to give a shout out to Amsterdam Section 8. They have a long list of people, and they're good about pointing people towards us. So
that is good.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. I mean, I guess I knew, but like there's waiting lists all over for people that are.
Amsterdam is funny because Amsterdam has their own housing authority. All the surrounding areas is run out of. I could be wrong on this, but I know the office is in Saratoga, so it's not like Johnstown, Gloversville, Fonda, even Saratoga, like any of the surrounding areas. I know I'm focusing mainly on Fulton, Montgomery, but Amsterdam's their own thing. Like I could walk into their office. I know every person in their office. Fort Plain. We have a big one out in Fort Plain. We're working on stabilizing for an outside client right now. That's an office in Saratoga that you can't. It's harder to get a hold of. I can text the guy at Amsterdam Section 8 like after hours and be like, "Hey, what's going on with this?" and he'll get right back to me.
That's awesome.
It's huge, and the city code enforcement guy does all the inspections, so we have like a texting relationship with him. So we're super efficient in the Amsterdam area. We have a couple outside Section 8ers in the surrounding areas, but mainly Amsterdam, and they have their own service, which is nice because Amsterdam's getting big. There's a lot of
it does seem to be growing.
There's a lot of
there.
growth going
and
on
like
right
in a positive way. Like it's. Someone mentioned it recently. They were like Amsterdam is growing.
They're building,
and I was like, I've been noticing that too.
So they're going to redo Route 5 right there. They're going to make it one lane rather than two, and they're going to build a park.
So weird.
They're going to build a park and some housing.
Yeah.
And then actually, I got to get on this. they're doing a project as you come over. They built the bridge as
Yep.
Amsterdam, the beautiful bridge.
Yeah.
As you come over the bridge, they're doing like a welcome to Amsterdam like sign. They're gonna redo that sidewalk area, and it's called the Gateway Project because it's the gateway
Get
to the
out.
internet.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I really need to get. I got to get in with Amsterdam and their
yes.
marketing department and
But
say,
guess what?
let us be a part of that.
Yeah.
Like, let us be a part of that.
Yeah.
We're your city's probably your biggest landlord in the city.
Yeah.
And I hate that term landlord too, but
Yeah.
we're your biggest, I'm going to stay with it, landlord in the city. We should be, we want to get involved in the community more. And there's a ton of local agents in the community that are super involved.
Yeah.
But we kind of bring a little bit of a different feel. So
Yeah.
I think that's really cool that it's the Gateway Project.
That would
But
definitely be something.
a lot of money's going into downtown Amsterdam within the next 2 to 3 years. And
I'm going to be watching.
We're hopefully par for the ride.
We're in Amsterdam a lot.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we compare the price points to like not even Saratoga, but like Clifton Park, Rotterdam, just anywhere where they have a pretty good school system. And then you go to Amsterdam and the community feels similar in some areas. I'm like, this is really nice neighborhood. The school's right there. And the price of the house is like $100,000 less.
It starts with the rentals. So
and it's huge. Like it's crazy the difference from
the rental market's starting to spike up a little bit because when I started a 2-bedroom, $850 to $950, like $950 max, would never think about a 2-bedroom in the thousands. I can rent a 2-bedroom in Amsterdam right now for $1,050. We try not to, like in our core values and our mission statement, we want affordable apartments.
It is
like,
so affordable. I mean, it depends.
Well,
but like comparative to like that's where they're going to move.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we're seeing a lot of people coming from Albany, Schenectady.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing a lot of people move out towards the Amsterdam way. So
Will that eventually drive up prices?
I think you're already seeing it in Amsterdam. I know my partners, their motto when we first started, like when I first started work with them in investing, they did a lot the Burr method, so they didn't want to be all in over 80,000, 40 a door for a 2-family.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to spend more than 40,000 a door, and they still try to stick with that, but they've been a little more lenient on that now, because you're just seeing 2-family prices. Like I saw one sell the other day for like 150. I'm like, that's not like, how are people making money on that?
Yeah.
And it's the margins are probably slim, but it's more of just like a buy and hold investment. You're not worried as much about the cash flow. You're just worrying about the value increasing. So
we're definitely in a seller's market still. Would you say that this is not an investor's market?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's like the stocks, right? You buy low.
Yeah.
I like to say, I'm not totally 100% on this, but I like to say that like this is people that are investing a lot into real estate are going to have cash. When the market dips, when there's a recession, housing prices drop, they're still going to have money. They're not affected.
Right.
That's when they can get in and scoop.
Right.
And I think that's what my partners did a few years ago.
Yeah.
Was they caught it right at the end, and then the market boomed.
Yeah.
They bought a lot of their stuff around like 2018, 2019. COVID hit. The market went crazy.
Yeah.
And then also, like I said, focusing a little more on Fulton and Montgomery County, people started to realize the value out there, right?
Yeah.
Like the rents, you could get a decent rent for a really cheap investment property.
Right.
And it's catching up a little bit now.
Yeah, I feel like supply and demand is eventually going to kick in.
Yeah, like I said, I'm in the market. I have my best friend grew up with him. We grew up on the same street. He works remote and he lives in Nashville, and he is like, I'm so sick of the stock market. He's like, can you just help me invest my money? And he's like, we'll partner up and like we'll own them together and we'll manage together. So it's my job to find the perfect deal. And there's just, you got to be patient. Unfortunately, there's no perfect deal right now. So
I think a lot of people are feeling that.
Yeah.
But some people, and I was talking about this with another agent, some people are like, if it's not an investment property, but it's like I have to manage my life situation, like I have to sell my home because I got to move, or I have to buy something.
Yeah.
Those are the people that are still selling and buying residentially, but then investors are being very strategic about and looking at the budget and how it's going to possibly pan out in the end, because you really don't know.
I mean, real estate historically always is just going up. So, I mean, there'll be dips, but like if you're holding on you're holding on to a piece of property, in 10 years it's going to be worth more than what you bought it for.
Yeah.
Just be careful how much you put into it. And
Right.
that's the thing with the burn method right now. I know a lot of people that are doing it well and successfully, but construction costs are higher too. So you gotta take that into play.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of an advantage on our properties that the construction company is right. We run the construction company.
Yeah.
So that helps, but it doesn't help with material costs.
Right.
And you still
Labor,
gotta pay
maybe.
your guys.
Yeah.
Labor you can get away with a little bit because you're
Everything's
you're
in-house.
paying your guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not paying for labor. Well, you're paying for the actual labor. You're not getting upcharged labor because they're your employees.
Yeah.
But
has the cost of like lumber come down since over COVID?
That's not my lane. I wish I could speak more to that, but I do know our material costs are high. I can't really speak on that's
I imagine
Jake in the game.
Yeah, I feel like it's too soon for things to like really come down at this point.
I was at Stewart's today and I noticed the hard rolls went from 69 cents to like $1.99. And I'm like, what happened?
Wow.
What happened?
Yeah.
Shout out to Stewart's. I love Stewart's, but I was like, whoa,
you never
inflation
know.
hit.
Yeah.
Inflation hit.
Yeah. You never know. Like there's so many issues with supply chains and like things like that right now. So it's weird. Everything feels a little bit weird.
Yep.
Hopefully things will start to level out in 2025.
I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean,
I already feel like things have
the Fed just
dropped
rates. That doesn't mean that means
not the mortgage rates.
Mortgage rates are going up.
Yeah.
That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
But
Gosh.
hopefully we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it's funny because people will say like, "Oh, did you see the Feds drop the rates?" And the mortgage rates will probably come down, but the housing prices are still going up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I am seeing, and I think it is also speaks to this time of the year, but I'm seeing a lot of price drops. But this time of the year, that's typical.
Yeah. We're in that time right now, and I'm trying to think of a recent sale I had. Well, first of all, I'm trying to negotiate one right now. I won't tell too much details, but we're not that far apart on considering the price point.
Yeah.
And we just can't. We're at a hard stop, and me and the other agent are like, what? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But hopefully that gets done. But yeah, I just closed on a multifamily that was. I'll have to check the stats on this. I don't know, but for a 4-family in Amsterdam, I think it was the highest sale for a 4-family in Amsterdam. Wow. We just closed that. I represented the seller.
Nice.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
So prices are up. Investment wise, I think people are just coming in and scooping whatever they can hold.
Yeah.
Not worrying about the cash flow. But yeah, residential, single family, I think you're seeing a little bit of a slowdown. A
shift.
A little bit.
It's a little bit of a shift.
I'm telling everyone in my database, like, if you're looking to sell, like, let's get ready now. And this is like the common thing every realtor says, oh, you want to beat the spring market. But it's a real thing. Like, you want to go when there's no demand. Like, when everyone hits the market in March and April, like, there's going to be
these warmer days. I'm getting a lot of, can you come and do photos like last minute? And it's like, oh, and they're like, oh, don't worry about getting it. I mean, we get it out the next day regardless, but they're like, we're not going live till next year.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, thanks for keeping us busy in December though.
I know it's a tough time.
It is.
Well, I got to remember that in the slower months, we'll get you an apartment or something.
Put me to work.
I'm trying to think. I think this one in Gloversville will be I have a meeting in an hour, and we're gonna talk. We'll talk about me doing some before and after shoots of that one. We need to devise a plan on how we're gonna handle what's going on there.
With
our
the situation.
Our friends on the stoop. But
we won't put that in the video.
Yeah.
Or should we? I know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No, it was great. That'll be a fun project, and I like those. And like I said, I live in Saratoga now. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I'm still super proud of where I grew up.
Yeah.
So that's one of the, going back to the very beginning of us talking.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part? I really do think my favorite part is, watching the improvement to the local community I grew up in.
Yeah.
And like, that's not me saying that for the camera. Like, I'm happy that happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool.
And in a lot of ways, you're part of that. I mean, you're part of that.
Absolutely. It's really cool to see. Actually, I had a listing and we almost bought my childhood house that my parents I
Aw.
was born in. I lived there till I was like 4. It was my parents owned a 2-family in Gloversville, and we were negotiating the portfolio, and it never came to fruition. But I'm like,
But
that
you
would have
never
been
know.
that
You
would have been
never
so
know.
cool. Yeah, we could always revisit that conversation with that guy, or maybe I can call that guy and see if he'll just sell that to me, and I'll full circle buy
Oh my
buy the
gosh.
house I grew up
Rent
in.
it out.
That'd be
That's
fun.
so crazy.
That gave me the idea. I'm gonna go find that guy's info.
Do
and
it.
call him.
Yeah.
I don't want your portfolio. I want this specific one. He's gonna be like,
Yeah.
why that one? I'll be like, don't worry
personal.
about it. Yeah,
You
don't
never
worry about
know.
it.
He might appreciate your story. That's kind of
I
cool.
think I told him that. We met at a Stewart's against Stewart's. We met at a Stewart's and it was so awkward. The booth was like the size of this chair, and there's 4 of us in this little booth, and I'm like sitting next to this guy. I've never met him, and we're like, hey, can we buy like all, I think he had like 40 doors, 15 houses, and we're just negotiating it. And he gave us the list. I'm like, oh my God, that was my childhood home. He's like, wow, that's one of my worst ones.
Oh no.
Yeah, it went a little
now
downhill.
you gotta make it better.
It went downhill
Yeah,
after my parents
yeah.
sold it.
Oh.
I was 5. That's like 1997. So,
that's so funny.
So yeah, it's been a while. But I sold a couple places right like on the corner of that street, and then I had one listed up the street. So I always check it out, and I always look at it. And I'm like, it'd be cool to take that one back.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it can be a rewarding field. So
for sure.
Let's wrap that up there. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on our show. Yeah. I'm like,
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is my favorite thing about my job is talking to people.
It's fun. I'll be honest, I don't mind talking and I don't mind being on camera, but like right as we were about to start, I got a little nervous.
Yeah, that's okay. You seem to have warmed up, so it's all good now.
It's easy. Once I start talking, I don't stop.
So if somebody wants to reach out to you to get some more information about your property management services, what do they do?
My email is dj.ioele @gatewaysolutionscorp.com.
Okay.
That's probably the best way to get me. You can go on our website, www.gatewaysolutionscorp.com. That'll have all 3 businesses there if you want to check that out. All of our agents have their own pages too.
It's a cool website.
Yeah. So shout out to our CRM for doing that.
Yeah.
And then my cell phone's on the website too. If you want to call, text me is the best way. If you text me, that's the best way you'll get a response.
Yeah.
My phone rings all day.
Yeah, and you're with people and you can't
I'm with
pick
people.
up. Yeah.
Text me. Can I say my phone number?
Yeah, go for it.
518-848-5774. That's my direct line. If you're a tenant of Gateway, that's not my direct line. We do have an office line. You can text that. That'll go to the person that can help you. I'll do my best to help you, but not me.
You could redirect them.
Yeah, we'll redirect.
You might have to change your phone number after this.
Yeah.
No.
I've had the same phone number since I was 14.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't change it.
My phone number is still area code Massachusetts. So, but I've only been here for like
that was a big
7
learning
or 8
moment
years.
when I started property management was don't use your personal phone.
Yeah. I actually think at some point my personal phone is going to become my work phone and I'm going to get a new phone.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which number to text for you now. Probably the one we were texting about this. Yeah.
We had an issue. Yeah. So Vonage, we were using the 518-754